When the shocking news of Remy Ma's divorce hit the internet, the hip-hop community couldn't believe their ears. After years of portraying a strong and unshakable bond, fans always saw Remy Ma and Papoose as the perfect couple, the definition of loyalty and love. But now, Remy herself has come forward with a truth that no one was prepared for. According to her, the real reason behind the split wasn't money, fame, or betrayal. It was something much more personal, private, and intimate. She openly claimed that Papoose simply couldn't fulfill her deepest desires in the bedroom. Suddenly, the couple that had once been celebrated as relationship goals was facing whispers, laughter, and endless gossip. Was this a genuine confession? Or is there a hidden story behind Remy's explosive statement? Tonight, we dive deep into the shocking truth behind Remy Ma and Papoose's crumbling love story. The world of hip-hop has always been filled with drama, feuds, and shocking revelations, but rarely has a love story as powerful as Remy Ma and Papoose's been shattered so publicly. For years, fans placed them on a pedestal. Their relationship was often described as unbreakable, forged in loyalty and sacrifice. Especially when Remy was behind bars and Papoose stood by her side, their love was celebrated as one of the purest romances in a genre often filled with betrayal and scandal. But now, that image is being torn apart, piece by piece, as Remy Ma herself drops a bombshell that no one saw coming. In a recent candid interview, Remy didn't hold back. Instead of blaming money troubles, industry pressures, or even infidelity, the usual suspects in celebrity divorces, she revealed something far more personal. With a bluntness that stunned both fans and critics, Remy claimed that the reason her marriage to Papoose collapsed was because he couldn't satisfy her bedroom desires. Those words echoed like an earthquake across social media. Within minutes, hashtags like #Remy and PAPOOSE, #HipHopDivorce, and #BedroomSecrets started trending. Fans reacted with a mixture of disbelief, shock, and even amusement. Some defended Papoose fiercely, arguing that he had been the ultimate ride-or-die husband, holding down the fort while Remy served her prison sentence. Others sided with Remy, saying her honesty was brave and that her needs as a woman were just as valid as anyone else's. But beneath the surface, the statement raised deeper questions about their marriage and what had been happening behind closed doors all these years. For a long time, the couple had been admired for keeping their private life relatively dry. Unlike other hip-hop couples who constantly aired their issues in public, Remy and Papoose seemed united, calm, and happy. But insiders now reveal that cracks had been forming for quite some time. Close friends of the couple whispered that Remy had been feeling unfulfilled for years, though she rarely expressed it openly. Papoose, who always carried himself with dignity, reportedly felt blindsided by Remy's explosive confession. The hip-hop community, which thrives on gossip and spectacle, immediately jumped into the fray. Talk shows, blogs, and YouTube commentary channels dissected Remy's words line by line. Was this really about intimacy, or was it a metaphor for something deeper, like emotional disconnect or even resentment that had built up over time? After all, relationships, especially ones in the spotlight, often crumble for a variety of reasons. Could Remy's bold claim have been a way of masking other problems, such as control, lack of communication, or conflicting ambitions? One thing that's clear: Remy Ma's choice to publicly expose such a private matter shocked even her biggest supporters. Many wondered why she didn't simply let the divorce papers speak for themselves, rather than airing out such intimate details of their marriage. Others argued that her openness was refreshing, a reminder that even celebrity couples, who look picture-perfect, can struggle with issues most people never see. But for Papoose, this revelation may have cut deeper than any diss track or rumor. Known as a man of respect and principles, Papoose has always been portrayed as a husband who valued family above all else. To be reduced, in the public eye, to a man who couldn't fulfill his wife must have felt humiliating. Social media memes only made matters worse. Overnight, images and jokes mocking the situation spread like wildfire, further fueling the narrative that Papoose's reputation had taken a massive hit. Still, many fans defended him, pointing to his loyalty and devotion during Remy's prison years. They argued that if there was ever a man who went above and beyond to support his woman, it was Papoose. He held her down when she was away, stayed faithful, raised her children, and even sacrificed parts of his own career to ensure Remy had everything she needed. If loyalty had a face, it would be Papoose, one fan tweeted. Shame on Remy for disrespecting him like this. Others, however, took a more neutral stance, insisting that sexual compatibility is a crucial element in any marriage. One comment read, "It doesn't matter how loyal someone is, if you don't feel fulfilled, eventually the cracks will show. You can't ignore intimacy and expect the marriage to survive forever." This clash of opinions is what has kept the story alive for days. On one side, people argue that Remy's honesty is a form of empowerment, a reminder that women don't have to stay silent about what they need. On the other side, critics claim her words were unnecessary, cruel, and damaging to a man who built his entire image around loyalty and respect, beyond the gossip and drama. This divorce raises a much larger question about relationships in the hip-hop world and even beyond. Can loyalty alone sustain a marriage? Or does passion, desire, and intimacy ultimately play a more important role than people are willing to admit? As fans continue to argue, the couple remains silent on whether there will be more revelations. Insiders suggest that Papoose is preparing his own response, though whether it will come in the form of an interview, a song, or silence remains to be seen. If history has taught us anything, it's that in hip-hop, silence can be just as powerful as words. But one thing's for sure, this isn't the end of the Remy Ma and Papoose saga. In fact, it feels like we're only at the beginning of a storm that could shake their reputations, their legacies, and maybe even their careers. For years, they were the golden couple of hip-hop. Now, they're the subject of one of the most shocking divorce scandals in the industry's history. And as the world watches, the question remains, who will come out of this chaos stronger? Remy Ma, standing firm in her truth, or Papoose, fighting to preserve his dignity? The fallout from Remy Ma's revelation didn't just stay within gossip blogs and social media timelines. It began to ripple through the entire hip-hop industry. Fans, artists, and even industry insiders were left stunned by the sheer boldness of her confession. In a culture where masculinity, dominance, and reputation are everything, the idea that Papoose, a man once praised for his loyalty and strength, was being publicly painted as inadequate created a firestorm. Behind the scenes, the tension between Remy and Papoose had reportedly been building long before her divorce announcement. Friends close to the couple whispered that what fans saw in public, the smiles, the interviews, the joint appearances, was only half the story. At home, Remy was allegedly growing frustrated, not just with their intimate life, but with how stagnant the marriage had become. Papoose, ever the family man, had dedicated much of his life to supporting Remy after her release from prison. He placed his own music career on the back burner, taking on the role of a manager, caretaker, and even co-parent to her children. For many women, this level of devotion would be a dream. But for Remy, the sacrifice may have created an unexpected imbalance. Instead of being seen as an equal partner, Papoose became more of a stabilizer, a figure who kept the family running smoothly but didn't ignite the passion she craved. This imbalance, some insiders claim, slowly ate away at Remy's sense of fulfillment. She began to focus more heavily on her career, her public image, and her personal ambitions, while Papoose remained content in the shadows, holding everything together. To Remy, this wasn't enough anymore. She wanted more than just loyalty. She wanted fire, excitement, and passion, things that were harder to find in a marriage that had become routine. When Remy finally dropped her bombshell, it wasn't just an attack on Papoose's masculinity, it was a declaration of her truth, no matter how controversial it sounded. But while she may have felt liberated by sharing her side of the story, Papoose was left to face the humiliation of being the punchline in a world that doesn't forgive weakness, especially from men. The hip-hop community reacted in predictable, but divided ways. Some rappers subtly supported Remy, posting cryptic comments about women speaking their truth and being real about what they want. Others stood firmly behind Papoose, calling out Remy for publicly disrespecting a man who had given her unwavering loyalty. One industry insider compared the situation to a power shift. For years, Remy and Papoose had been branded as the ultimate hip-hop power couple, the blueprint for loyalty and commitment. By breaking that image so publicly, Remy was flipping the script. Instead of the devoted wife who had been supported during her darkest times, she was now positioning herself as the independent woman, unafraid to walk away from a marriage that didn't fulfill her. This narrative resonated with some fans, particularly women who had felt trapped in unfulfilling relationships themselves. Social media was filled with comments like, "Good for Remy. Women shouldn't stay in marriages just because a man is loyal. Passion matters too. Respect to her for being honest." Too many people suffer in silence. But just as many people were critical, pointing out that airing intimate details about a marriage on such a public platform was unnecessary and cruel. Memes mocking Papoose spread rapidly. Screenshots of old photos where he was smiling proudly beside Remy were repurposed into jokes about him being the most loyal man alive. But loyalty doesn't keep the bedroom hot. For Papoose, the ridicule must have been devastating. His image, built on decades of being respected as a lyricist and as the epitome of loyalty, was suddenly reduced to a single headline about his bedroom performance. To some fans, this overshadowed everything else he had achieved. It wasn't fair, but in the world of social media, perception is often more powerful than truth. Some insiders revealed that Papoose had been blindsided by Remy's decision to speak out. According to sources, he had believed their issues could be worked on privately, away from cameras and gossip blogs. He was said to be heartbroken, not just over the end of the marriage, but over the way Remy chose to frame the narrative. For a man like Papoose, who prided himself on dignity and discretion, this public humiliation cut deep. But while Papoose remained largely silent, many speculated about whether he would eventually respond. Would he drop a track addressing the situation, using his lyrical skills to reclaim his narrative? Or would he continue to take the high road, refusing to stoop to the level of airing private details for public consumption? Fans debated endlessly, with some begging him to clap back and others urging him to stay quiet and preserve his dignity. Meanwhile, Remy seemed unfazed by the backlash. To her, speaking her truth was more important than protecting anyone's pride. In interviews, she doubled down on her claims, insisting that it was her right to demand more from her marriage than just loyalty. She argued that too often, women are told to be grateful for whatever support they get, even if it comes at the cost of their own happiness. This argument struck a chord with many women, who applauded her for refusing to settle. But it also sparked a debate about how far is too far when sharing personal struggles publicly. Did Remy cross the line by humiliating Papoose, or was she simply exercising her right to be transparent about her reasons for leaving? The controversy soon spilled into hip-hop media platforms. Talk shows like Drink Champs and The Breakfast Club analyzed every angle of the story. Podcasters debated whether Papoose would ever recover his public image or if this revelation would haunt him for the rest of his career. Commentators noted that while Remy's honesty gave her a new aura of independence, it also painted her as ruthless, someone willing to destroy her husband's image to justify her own decisions. In the bigger picture, the Remy Papoose saga became more than just a messy divorce. It became a conversation about gender roles, intimacy, loyalty, and the expectations we place on relationships. Could it be that hip-hop's most loyal couple was doomed because loyalty wasn't enough? As the debate raged on, one thing became clear: both Remy and Papoose were forever changed in the eyes of the public. For Remy, her brand was now tied to the idea of female empowerment, a woman unafraid to speak about her desires, no matter how uncomfortable the truth may be. For Papoose, the challenge was even greater. He now had to reclaim his dignity and rebuild an image that had been shattered overnight. But would he fight back, or walk away silently, choosing dignity over drama? The world waited to see what his next move would be. As the drama deepened, fans and industry insiders couldn't help but wonder, was there more to Remy Ma's confession than met the eye? Was her claim about Papoose's bedroom performance the real reason for their divorce, or was it just the most scandalous piece she chose to reveal? Behind closed doors, whispers emerged, suggesting that intimacy wasn't the only factor. According to those who had been around the couple, money, fame, and shifting priorities had been brewing tensions long before things exploded publicly. While Papoose had been the rock during Remy's incarceration, things changed dramatically after her release. Remy became a businesswoman, a performer, and a cultural figure who commanded the spotlight. Meanwhile, Papoose's career slowed, as he spent more time supporting her than pushing his own brand. This imbalance of fame and power may have quietly corroded their dynamic. Some insiders believed Remy's frustration wasn't just about what happened in the bedroom, but about feeling like she had outgrown the marriage altogether. By framing the divorce around intimacy, she gave fans a headline they couldn't ignore, while avoiding the more complicated truth about power struggles, shifting ambitions, and maybe even betrayal. Still, the impact of her words couldn't be undone. By saying it out loud, she turned Papoose from hip-hop's most loyal husband into a man mocked across social media. For years, their marriage had been praised as a symbol of true love surviving the darkest trials. Now, it had become the ultimate cautionary tale, proof that loyalty alone doesn't guarantee happiness. The humiliation was especially sharp because Papoose had long been the poster child for patience. During Remy's prison sentence, he had turned down countless opportunities, waiting faithfully for her release. He had defended her name in interviews, shown up to court hearings, and raised her children as his own. To fans, he was the kind of man women prayed for. But Remy's bold words reframed the narrative. Maybe devotion wasn't enough. Maybe what women really wanted was a balance of loyalty and passion. In the days following her explosive reveal, commentators speculated about how Papoose would respond. Would he finally release music of his own, addressing Remy's claims through lyrical bars that cut just as deep? Would he sit down for a tell-all interview and flip the narrative, exposing details that Remy had kept hidden? Or would he remain quiet, preserving his dignity while letting the storm pass? Surprisingly, Papoose chose silence, at least in the immediate aftermath. While Remy appeared at events, flashing confidence and doubling down on her story, Papoose stayed in the background. Fans read into this silence in different ways. Some praised him for not stooping to Remy's level, insisting it showed maturity. Others criticized him for being too quiet, claiming it made him look weak and submissive. But those who know Papoose best say his silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Pap has always been about playing the long game, one industry insider revealed. He doesn't need to rush to social media to defend himself. He's letting her have her moment, but don't be surprised if he responds in a way that flips everything. The question was, what kind of response could Papoose give that would truly change the narrative? In the world of hip-hop, reputation is currency. And while fans may clown him now, a single powerful freestyle or heartfelt interview could remind people why they respected him in the first place. Meanwhile, Remy's career seemed unaffected by the backlash. In fact, some argued that the controversy boosted her visibility. Bookings increased, interview requests flooded in. And suddenly, Remy Ma was trending again, not for her music, but for her honesty and willingness to speak about taboo topics. For someone who had always been raw and unapologetic in her art, this was perfectly on brand. Still, others questioned whether Remy had gone too far. Some critics accused her of weaponizing private marital struggles for clout. They argued that, while she may have won the short-term attention battle, she risked losing respect in the long run. You can't build your brand on tearing down the man who supported you for years, one commentator noted. That kind of energy always comes back around. Amid all this, fans began revisiting old clips of Remy and Papoose together. The wedding vows, the family moments on Love and Hip Hop, the countless interviews where they praised each other. To see that love unravel so publicly left many heartbroken. It was proof that even the strongest-looking relationships can collapse under the weight of unmet needs and changing ambitions. One theory circulating online was that Remy's bedroom confession wasn't even literal, but symbolic. Perhaps she was using intimacy as a metaphor for deeper dissatisfaction. A way of saying Papoose couldn't give her what she needed emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. But since fans crave sensational headlines, she packaged it in a way that guaranteed attention. Whatever the truth, the damage had been done. Memes, blogs, and gossip channels ensured that Papoose's name would forever be tied to Remy's blunt revelation. And yet, there was still an undercurrent of sympathy for him. Many fans believed that if anyone could bounce back from such humiliation, it was Papoose, a man whose entire career was built on resilience and determination. In the end, the Remy Papoose saga highlighted a harsh reality. Love, no matter how loyal, isn't always enough. Relationships require balance, passion, and growth, and when those things fade, even the most celebrated couples can crumble. But one question still lingered in everyone's mind. Would Papoose eventually tell his side of the story? If he did, the hip-hop world was ready to listen. Because in a culture built on battles, remixes, and responses, silence can only last so long before the mic has to be picked back up. And when Papoose finally decides to speak, whether through bars or through truth bombs of his own, the story of his marriage with Remy Ma might take a shocking new turn. At the end of the day, the Remy Ma and Papoose saga isn't just another messy hip-hop breakup. It's a reminder that even the strongest-looking couples can crumble when love and loyalty clash with unmet desires and shifting ambitions. Remy's bold confession left the internet buzzing, but it also left fans questioning what really went wrong behind the scenes. Was it truly about intimacy, or was there a deeper story that hasn't yet been told? And most importantly, will Papoose finally break his silence and set the record straight? What do you think? Did Remy Ma go too far by airing out private struggles for the world to see? Or was she just keeping it real in the only way she knows how? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next shocking update in this hip-hop drama.